Tuesday morning, Tyler Robinson had his first day in court, and we learned a couple of things about the assassin of Charlie Kirk, or exactly what he's been charged with. We also found that Discord wasn't the only place that he was sharing very revelatory messages, and also, and I find this incredibly difficult to say, you still do not hate the media enough. Everything that they have done in the past week in regards, because it's been, I know it seems like a whirlwind, but it has only been 1 week now that this horrific murder has taken place, but with the amount of spin and mischaracterization, you would have thought that the worst was behind us, but realistically, I got to reassess this and think that it's only going to get worse from here because, well, we'll get into it, okay? Because let's get the facts out here first, something that the media is not doing for you. You have to go look for it. So yes, Charlie Kirk, a shooting suspect, Tyler Robinson, is charged with murder, and not just any type of murder. Well, as you can tell right here, the prosecutor is seeking the death penalty because Utah is in fact a death penalty state, and well, you love to see it applied when it is in fact warranted, and this is very much that case. So yes, Tyler Robinson, 22, appeared in court virtually for the first time after being arrested on suspicion of fatally shooting conservative activist Charlie Kirk on the 10th. Utah County Attorney's Office announced at a news conference today that Robinson is charged with aggravated murder and obstruction of justice, among other charges. But yes, of course, the aggravated murder, the first-degree murder, well, I guess it's first-degree murder with the aggravated multiplier on top of it, which will allow the Utah prosecutor to seek the death penalty. So the other charges, I guess, is just icing on the cake. Prosecutors announced that they will seek the death penalty. Kirk's death, yes, caused an outpouring of grief, and a determination to carry on his conservative message from political allies. Yeah, because that's what you've been seeing out of the right. Nothing that you would normally see whenever there was a prominent figure on the other side of the equation if they were to be killed in such a spectacular fashion. Haven't seen any right-wing riots or looting events. No. Just prayer events, moments of reflection. Just a real unifying force on the right, which is really beautiful to see, okay? Because to compare and contrast that with what's happening out there on the left, I mean, I think Jimmy Kimmel probably drives this one home better than anybody else. Not a sentence that I ever thought that I would have said about Jimmy Kimmel's commentary, but obviously I'm being a touch facetious, but Jimmy Kimmel claims we hit some new lows over the weekend with a mega gang desperately trying to characterize this kid, Tyler Robinson, who murdered Charlie Kirk, as anything other than one of them. Yeah, the obfuscation from the left by trying to say, oh, this is a 22-year-old who grew up in a Christian conservative household. I don't know how you guys can think that this was anything but, one of your guys's. And the way that they're also, because I've seen reports of this before, oh, he's a groiper, he's one of Nick Fuentes' types, and this was one of those things where when I was looking around to just see different responses, I thought if there would be a dissenting voice on the right, it would probably come from the Fuentes camp, but he has been steadfast in his calls for unity, and if you don't know anything about the problems the Groypers and Turning Point USA have had over the years, it kind of looks like water under the bridge at this point in time, but just know there was a lot of problems that were there, but they are absolutely gone. So even when I seen Tim Pool debunk this, it was a little clip, I didn't watch the video or anything like that, but he debunked the whole, the Groypers are the violent types. It's like, no, the most aggressive thing that I ever heard from a Groyper was debate Nick Fuentes. This whole, this is one of your guys' I don't know why you're getting so mad at the left for. Yeah, this is just one of your guys is doing everything they can to score political points from it. A side that virtue signaled for a career criminal overdosing in a parking lot, or another one facilitating the drug running business of her live-in boyfriend, of just a do-gooder jogger just running through construction sites. Definitely didn't have a history of breaking and entering. No. Pointing out that a radical leftist, somebody who grew up, yes, in a good household, was radicalized by leftist talking points, and you want to say that doesn't matter at all? Well, yeah, of course not. Why would you? Because if you wanted to take responsibility for everybody on your side, you've also got to fess up to one guy who tried to come forward and obfuscate the investigation as well. George Zinn, the man who allegedly lied that he shot Charlie to help the real shooter get away, was arrested because he had a whole bunch of images and videos that he was probably sharing back and forth with on a Destiny Discord account. But yes, what we seen in court today were text messages between Tyler Robinson and his live-in troon, male to female, trans, whatever, and all of these lies that the left has been peddling in recent days, yeah, it's what they get debunked by facts real quick. Funny thing about that, hey? Tyler Robinson confessed to murdering Charlie Kirk in a chilling text message exchange. Excuse me, you call it chilling? I think ABC probably has another term for it. More on that in a moment. In a chilling text exchange with his trans lover hours after allegedly carrying out the assassination, less than 3 hours after the September 10th killing, the 22-year-old told his live-in partner, Lance Twiggs, I'm sure that's the real name, has been planning the killing for a week, according to an indictment filed Tuesday. He messaged Twiggs to drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard, after shooting Kirk from a rooftop at the Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Twiggs then found a note from Robinson reading, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. Robinson was charged Tuesday with aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice, 3 of the 7 total accounts. But yes, here are all of the text messages. Okay, drop what you're doing under the keyboard. Oh, I'm sorry, drop what you are doing, look under my keyboard. ... What? You're joking, right? Then Tyler replies, I'm still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I have hoped to keep this secret till I die of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Now, I've seen a lot of people who have talked about these text messages before be like, yeah, okay, this really seems like an op. This is one of those, I heard the comparisons. I haven't watched the show, so I can't really make heads or tails of this, but it kind of seems like a Walter White at the end of the show type thing, a Breaking Bad, you know, trying to take responsibility for something. Like I said, I have no point of reference from this, but honestly, for as much as we see leftists wholesale take talking points from the media, this is just something that wouldn't look too foreign being performed on Netflix. Just such explanatory, expository dialogue just being puked out there, and coupled with, I would imagine there's probably a pretty severe autism diagnosis somewhere along the line when it comes to this. Like, this is as literal as a motherfucker can get, just over explaining all situations. Somebody who is terminally online, completely indoctrinated by the left-wing cult. I think that there's just some weird people that are out there. So yeah, I think that this is legit. It just looks a little bit weird because it reads like an absolute work of fiction. But yes, you weren't the one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude. They interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly afterwards. Yeah, this is where it's like, why are you getting into such great detail? But the fact that this is repeated over and over again kind of leads me to believe that this is somebody who does, this is how they talk. But most of that side of town was locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Why? I do not know. Oh, why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. How long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. I can't get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept the spot. I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about Prince. I had, no, this is somebody who's just spent way too much time on crime dramas. Oh, they sweep it for Prince. Oh, it's just, I don't know what else they're going to be doing. Yeah, everything would be smudged on that, you greasy fuck. I imagine you were probably sweating bullets when you were setting everything up. So yeah, everything would have been smudged to begin with. There might have been some trace DNA. But of course, you come from a law enforcement family, yeah, shit's going to be registered. But yes, I had to leave it in the bush where I changed outfits. I didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope that they don't find Prince. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? One thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving the bullets? No. Destiny said that he didn't engrave any bullets or anything like that, and he's the arbiter of truth on the left, right? The fucking messages were mostly a big meme. If I see notice bulge, ooh on Fox, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. Then why would you do it to begin with? Again, you thought this was a good idea, right? Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope. Delete this exchange. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna help, dude. And it doesn't really look like you're getting any response from your tranny friend. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of a rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering since Trump got into office. My dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm gonna turn myself in willingly. One of the neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Oh, okay, that's where the law enforcement comes in. You are all I worry about, love. I'm much more worried about you. Don't talk to the media, please. I'm much more worried about you. Don't turn me in. Oh, okay. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask your questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. Yeah, of course, somebody who has just been indoctrinated way too much by Hollywood, way too much by the media, is just all of this bog standard shit. And as such, you have idiots like, and I seen it on the sidebar, I don't have it pulled up or anything like that, but you have fucking Michael Keaton coming out and says, oh, it's ironic that he was shot, but he wasn't for gun control. Isn't that ironic? You're a fucking dumbass. I know that there was a reason. At least I suspected there was a reason why he fell out of public favor for all of those years. Fucking blithering idiot. But it's honestly not the dumbest thing that we've heard, but in regards to, yeah, this text message exchange, there's a reason that I read all of it, because as you can see, this is just the ramblings of, well, a psychotic murderer. Like, we can come to the conclusion on that, but somebody who clearly knew exactly what they were doing, you know, had to plan this out for a while. I like the evidence is all there, okay? All they need to do is just simply put him at the spot, make a couple of connections right there, and he is going to be in the old sizzle chair in a couple years' time, and good for him. But if we're going to be completely honest, I don't really get what we see right here, okay, in regards to an ABC reporter, Matt Gutman. In fact, I don't really make the connection, okay, because it seemed like a very clinical explanation as to what happened, what precluded the event, but I don't really understand how Matt Gutman says that he's not sure if we had seen any alleged murderer with such specific text messages. Maybe, I don't know, but they were very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. I fucking beg your pardon? Very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself. Suspect's roommate. Well, okay, instead of just reading this drivel, I'll let this fucking dough brain go ahead and say it himself.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love.
Yeah, that was, what, twice or three times, but repeatedly. Oh, see, it's so touching because a brick to the head would also be touching. Like, what the fuck are we doing here, you idiot? The lengths to which the left are going to just cover their own ass is almost amazing.
So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And then
that's why it's so loving and it's so fantastic, right? Because, he made sure that he was accurate with his shot. He didn't want to put everybody else at risk.
On the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
What a fucking nut job. But yeah, no, he had decided, double down 10 minutes later on, ABC News Live.
It's heartbreaking on so many levels, Kira. Obviously, Charlie Kirk was murdered brutally in front of a crowd of thousands of people who watched him being shot through the neck and then essentially bleed out in front of him. And I think one of the things that the attorney here made a very fine point about is that a lot of these charges, 7 charges, were aggravated because children were present. Children witnessed this. Children were put in harm's way. And that was something that obviously is aggravating here, and that's one of the reasons that the suspect, in addition to the alleged murder being political in nature, is facing the death penalty. They're going for the death penalty. And on the other hand, there is this duality of a portrait of a very human person, a very human experience from this entire family. As you mentioned it, the mother who essentially discovered that it was her son who had done this, the kid who had got a 34 out of 36 on the ACTs, who had a 4.0, who got a full ride to college here. That
See how close he was with his family? That's why he was like one of you righties that are out there. He wasn't this compassionate lefty with the tranny boyfriend. No. This was somebody who was just like you, all of you white Christian conservatives that are out there. See, with your dirty ideology, what you will eventually drive people to. You're sick, you're twisted. If he was only allowed to just live his life without your oppression, without your judgment over the top of it, you could have stopped this. This is fucking bonkers, man. And like I said, I'm glad he's facing the death penalty, an eye for an eye in this situation. But again, it's shit like this that we see from dog shit outlets like Jimmy Kimmel, like ABC News. You do not hate the media enough. Their blood, Charlie Kirk's blood is on their hands. And the next person that the left decides to take out and they want to run cover for, we're going to see this cycle continue over and over again until we all get wise to this shit and properly assess the real enemy for exactly what they are. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.